Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 13 and compare it against the iPhone 12 mini and see which specific phone you should go and pick up. Now, I do think the iPhone 13 mini is probably the better one everyone should pick up for the most part, but the iPhone 12 mini is still a pretty good phone for the most part as well. So let's go and see how they compare. If you want to pick up either one of these phones, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off with the outside, the iPhone 12 mini on the front has a 5.4-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. And it's a pretty good looking panel. I've talked about this specific display for a long period of time, and I think Apple did a pretty good job with the iPhone 12 mini exterior wise. There were some things I may not be the best fan about with this specific device, but I do think when it comes down to it, Apple did a pretty good job, and it could have been way worse. This was their first reintroduction of the smaller type of phone, so I think it was really nice. I mean, it was a very, very small type of device, which I really liked. So it's going to be interesting to see how these phones kind of age if Apple ever makes another mini phone. But this is only one of two basically mini phones Apple has ever made. With the iPhone 13, on the other hand, this is a bigger sized phone. So it's a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. So it's a bigger display. It's pretty much the same type of resolution though, so not that big of a difference. You're still getting a notch. You're still getting kind of pretty much the same design. The notch is a tiny, tiny bit smaller on the iPhone 13 though. But other than that, for the most part, you're getting kind of the same type of experience between these two. So with something like the iPhone 13, it's a bigger display, very good resolution, but the iPhone 12 mini is also still a very good display as well. And the sides, it's almost exactly the same type of phone for the most part too. Now the iPhone 12 mini is a much smaller phone like I mentioned, but the thickness is kind of the same. You can see that the iPhone 12 mini kind of sits right inside of the iPhone 13, which is pretty wild. So when you look at it from the side, it's very interesting that they're both kind of the same thickness, which is totally fine. Both these phones are fairly thin, so it's not like these things are like super, thick by any means. So it's totally fine there. Lightning ports at the bottom, ringer switch, all that good stuff on the sides. And on the back, we are getting our glass backs. Now my iPhone 12 mini completely cracked up, does not even look that good at all right now. We're getting dual camera setups on both as well, which is kind of always nice to have. So you're always getting some type of capability there, which is really cool. Now you're getting glass backs, like I mentioned. Mine is cracked on my iPhone 12 mini. You're getting the MagSafe charging on the back too as well. So you have that MagSafe wireless charging pad you can throw here, or you can use the MagSafe accessories as well. So those are always really nice to have as well. And that kind of covers it up on the outside. And definitely when it comes down to it, both phones are very interesting. They both have a lot of similarities, but I would still kind of state that something like the iPhone 13, I like the design a little bit more. I like the two cameras kind of popping from the sides here. I like the bigger phone as well. But I think the iPhone 12 mini is still a very good phone too. Like, you can't really look at the 12 mini and be upset about it either, just because it looks so small and cute. Now, with something else like the iPhone 12 mini, I still think this type of device is still very, very good. I still think this phone is going to be supported for many years to come, and it's not like tomorrow this thing is going to be discontinued. So in that way, that is probably one of those things to keep in mind. And with something like the iPhone 12 mini, at the end of the day, I mean, this phone is still going to be supported for many, many years to come. This thing is not going to be outdated tomorrow. I would still say it probably has like another 3 to 4 years of software support, and then maybe that's including like some updates here and there on the same version of software, much like the iPhone 6s. So the fact that this phone came out in 2020, I would say it's not going to be unsupported for like another 3 years probably. Now the 13 is definitely probably going to outlast it, so keep that in mind. But even at that standpoint, I mean, it's still going to be supported for long, long periods of time on the iPhone 12 mini. So that kind of covers it up there as well. Now let's go and do a speed comparison between both these phones. The iPhone 12 mini has that Apple A14 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone 13 has the Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM as well. So let's go and see which one's the faster one between both. Okay, there we go. All the apps are clear on the background. Let us get into it. Phone calls 3, 2, 1. Okay. Music 3, 2, 1. Almost identically the same. They were almost a neck and neck right there. Let's go and hop out of these two. Let's get into app stores. 3, 2, 1. And very close between one another. Let's kind of scroll through each one and see which one is faster or slower. And I think the iPhone 13 mini might be, actually I don't know which one is faster there, to be honest. Let's go and swipe back out. And let's go click here. So both are very close, which I'm expecting because they're both very close in terms of release dates. Camera 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Let's go and take a photo. 3, 2, 1. So it's interesting. that this one required 5 seconds, this one required 2 seconds. I'm not too sure what that's about. I guess we can compare the photos and see which one is the better one. Just gonna open this up. And maybe the iPhone 13's photo is better, but it's like not even that good of a photo on both because the quality wasn't that great because it's like taking it back my phone case. Photos, 3, 2, 1. Kind of the same thing too, not really that big of a difference here. Hopping out of this, let's go and get into mail, 3, 2, 1. The 12 mini, I think it was faster. Clock, 3, 2, 1. About the same thing too. Let's go and hop out of here. Let's go and get into some other of these applications. Let's try Subway Surfers, which I think I have. 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 12 mini actually got into it faster than the iPhone 13. This is very interesting considering these phones are basically like, the 12 mini is the older one and that one is still performing better than something like the iPhone 13, which is actually pretty insane. So I'm not really too sure what's going on here. Well, I guess we'll have to look at that in a second. Hopping out of these two, let's go and get into stack. 3, 2, 1. I think the 12 mini again was the faster one here too. Let's go and get into Temple Run 2. 3, 2, 1. So I'm not too sure what's going on here. I mean, it's good that the 12 mini is faster, but I feel like with something like the iPhone 13, it is also very surprising. Now, this one was faster on the iPhone 13, so I think that's pretty interesting. But like I said, I mean, for the iPhone 12 mini performing that well over time is actually pretty insane in and of itself. So when it comes down to it, I'll probably give a thumbs up to the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 12 mini, though 12 mini did beat the iPhone 13 many times. So again, it's a very, very interesting something like that even happened. Now in the camera department, with something like the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 12 mini, like I said, dual camera setups on both, so you're getting wide and ultra-wide cameras, which is really, really nice. Now with something like the iPhones, these two, 4K at 60 on the back and you're getting 4K at 60 on the front, that is a really nice touch to have on these types of phones. So you're going to be in really good hands when you're getting a device like this because you're getting pretty much the same type of resolutions. However, there's one change or one update that you're getting on the iPhone 13, which we'll talk about in a second. But with the 12 mini, I like it because it's a small phone. It is kind of in a small form factor. The viewfinder can be a little weird because it is a bigger, better viewfinder on the 13, so you might be getting better quality looking photos sometimes on the 13. But with this one, you're getting 0.5x zoom, you're getting 5x zoom, you're getting the same type of zooming in and zooming out capability between both. You're getting video mode, slow-mo, time-lapse, portrait mode. This camera is still very good, don't get me wrong. But I have noticed that the iPhone 12 camera and the iPhone 11 camera are way more similar, and the iPhone 13 and 14 camera are way more similar. So that's kind of always one thing I kind of saw here. The iPhone 13, this is a very solid camera. I still like this camera a lot, and it definitely gets the job done for sure. With something like the iPhone 13 camera, one little tiny change that you're getting with the 13 is the ability of not only doing photo and video and all that, we already kind of know that, but is this new cinematic mode that we have. So it's not really that new anymore, but it was a newer feature at that time. And this is something that we have now that we didn't have back then on the iPhone 12 mini. So it is a nice little touch. It's a nice little feature we have on the iPhone 13. And I would say that the iPhone 13 camera is probably the better one when it comes down to it. So to kind of sum up this whole entire video, what I would probably tell you, let me not zoom out that much, what I'll probably tell you is that the iPhone 13, I think, is probably the better camera when it comes down to it. I mean, or the better phone in general. This is a very solid phone that I like a lot. It gets the job done for sure, and this is the better one. It's going to give you better, better battery life, better quality phone. I think better long-lasting phone. But the iPhone 12 mini, I still think does a really decent job. It did kind of outperform my iPhone 13 many times today, so that was something that was very surprising. But I think that might be more of an anomaly than not. I think the iPhone 13 would be the one I would recommend, but the 12 mini is still a very solid phone too. If you're okay with kind of the battery life not being that great, I think this is still a pretty decent option. So in terms of that, that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.